And we're live.
We're live now.
We can skip all the regular music
Yeah,
in the
that's
beginning
what I was
except for
gonna
our
do.
intro.
Let's turn us down.
Welcome to the Muddied Waters of Freedom with your hosts, Matt Wright and Mohammed Shaker.
Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, and welcome to the Vanguard. For Mohammed was actually up earlier than me and ready to go before me, Shaker. I am Matt Wright, and together we are traversing the muddied waters of freedom. You wanted to do the introduction, so I will allow you to take it from here.
Okay, well, today we have one of my newer / good friends that I think he's going to be a good friend anyways so far. We have fun on Facebook together. My friend Yehuda Remer. I think that's how you say his name. Remer, yes. Cool fact, in Arabic, Yehud means Jewish. He was born in LA, lived in Israel. He's a believer in chivalry, serious and dedicated, fun, personable guy. He's passionate about love and romance, which should be great for his wife. Open, kind thinker. He is pushed to tell the true story, which might be what we're going to be talking about later, unless that's something else. Gorilla friendly, which I assume is a reference to whatchamacallit. What's that famous ass gorilla meme thing?
Harambe.
Harambe. All right, I just lost a bunch of viewers now. Likes John Wayne. He's got 3 children. Second Amendment advocate, troop supporter. Whatever adopted Texan mean, he can explain that. And he's a patriotic American. Welcome on the show, Yehuda Remer.
Thank you for having me.
No, absolutely. Yesterday, I actually messaged Yehuda to ask him how to say his name. So I was like, can I get the phonetic sounding of your name?
Yeah.
And then we were talking, he was like, is this going to be video or what? And I said, we don't really have the technology to do the video, but we'll probably just video call you in. So it's more like we're having a conversation.
Yeah, we're still trying to figure out the video thing. It's fun to look at you while we're talking.
And he said his response was epic. He said, well, I can do audio or video. I'm game for both. My pretty bald head works wonders on video, and my sexy raspy voice is a hit on audio. And I was like, yes, I like this guy so much. We forgot to thank Lotad.
Yeah, I was waiting on you.
Oh, okay. All right. Have you ever had kava before, Yehuda?
Have I ever had what?
Kava?
Kava, no.
Okay. Well, kava is an all-natural island drink made from the root of the intoxicating pepper plant. It is used in ceremonies in the islands like Vanuatu and Fiji and that kind of those places, and they use them in political discussions
and Pinellas County.
And Pinellas County, it's used a lot in Pinellas County.
Yeah,
but they use them in political discussions or business meetings, and it's one of the traditions that they have is they will drink kava before these things to kind of show the community of the event. So we like to start off every show by having a drink of kava and saying bula, which is a Fijian term that means to long life and good health.
Cool.
Yeah. So thank you to Low Tide. Sorry, go ahead.
Drink one for me.
We will, trust us. Thank you to Low Tide Kava Bar for the kava that we drink on this and every show. So thank you, Low Tide, and thank you, Jay, I'm assuming. I don't know who gave it to you.
it is. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you, Low Tide. Thank you, Jay. Bula.
Well.
All right. That still tastes so good.
It actually doesn't taste that good. It tastes earthy.
Yeah, it tastes like what you would think a root of an intoxicating pepper plant would taste like.
I'm dying to try it now. You guys totally piqued my interest.
Well, next time that you're out in the Pinellas County area of Florida, please let me know while you're staying with Muhammad. We would love to have you swing by, and I will definitely drink a shell or 9 with you.
So tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, my bio worked wonders for my dating profile, so I appreciate that. Yeah, I'm just I grew up in Los Angeles in a apolitical Orthodox Jewish family, and thought of firearms, or I don't know how I transitioned to firearms. I'm just so used to it, considering we haven't even finished my book yet. But I'm just a normal Jewish boy who grew up in Los Angeles, grew up doing photography, just going through life trying to figure out what I want to do until I found my true calling in writing.
Yeah.
So,
You have siblings?
I do. I have an older brother who I like to joke is a communist because he married a girl from Canada. I have a younger brother who I love dearly, but he married like an ultra feminist, and she's awesome. I mean, she's amazing with my kids. I love her.
Yeah.
But we don't see eye to eye on everything. And then I have a baby sister who's not really a baby anymore. She's 27, and I'm super close with her. She's the one that married a nice conservative guy and takes good care of her. So, yeah.
Yeah, nice.
Nice.
Is he Jewish?
He is, yes.
Okay, so your family married other Jewish.
Oh yeah. We didn't marry outside the faith.
Orthodox.
All of them Orthodox, yes.
Yeah. I always heard that's how you guys are.
Yeah,
And
yeah, pretty much.
Orthodox Jews are usually. Is that here?
That's here, yeah.
Wow. Okay. I don't know if you heard that there's an ambulance that.
Oh no, I've
No.
heard it's because of the stuff you were drinking.
Right.
Aren't Orthodox Jews typically apolitical? Even in Israel?
Not necessarily. I mean, a lot of it, for example, in Israel, a lot of the people in the parliament there are Orthodox Jews. You do have some people who were Orthodox Jews. Joe Lieberman from Connecticut, he was an Orthodox Jew, although a little more on the modern side, but he was an Orthodox Jew. Yeah, I mean, Orthodox Jews are involved in politics, just not necessarily, holding seats in Congress or the Senate or, state reps or anything like that. So, I know a lot of Orthodox Jews who are very involved. I mean, look, like I mentioned to you a few minutes ago, one of my closest friends, a guy I grew up with, Ben Shapiro, was an Orthodox Jew.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And you can't get more involved in politics than he is. So.
Exactly. Yeah, you're right. You're right.
That's very
Yeah.
true. Just
Well,
hearing that still makes me smile. Even
yeah,
though I
yeah.
knew it.
Hell yeah.
He said it there again, and it was just like, that's so cool.
So I know all about liberal Jews from the religious sense, and how typically conservative Jews, also from the religious sense, and Orthodox Jews don't see with them an eye to eye from a religious sense, and probably a political sense too. But how about you, Orthodox Jews and conservative Jews? Do you guys tend to agree on a lot of things?
Yeah, a lot of because conservatism in many facets is based on Judeo-Christian values. A lot of the mindset are the same. A lot of Orthodox Jews tend to be more right of center rather than, I mean, they're not going to be maybe not necessarily as, Tea Party right wing as some people, but Orthodox Jews tend to be a lot more right of center than the conservative movement or the reform movement.
Okay, interesting. Well, tell us about your book. That's why we're here.
Yeah. So I wrote a book called Safety On, and it's an introduction to the world of firearms for children.
Uh-huh.
And the reason why I wrote it is, at the time I started writing it, I had 2 kids, and back in LA, I did own 3 firearms, and I kind of kept it from my parents just because I didn't need that Jewish guilt that you always hear about, hanging over me. And my younger brother one day let slip that I owned a Glock 19, and my parents kind of freaked out. And it got me thinking, like, as a responsible adult who owns firearms, I'm the one that's going to be teaching my kids about firearm safety. So obviously I don't want the media or Hollywood to be teaching my kids. So I started looking into it, and you have some great programs out there that really do, great things with firearm safety. But there was no book where I can just sit down with my kids and just read a book about firearm safety that was engaging to them. So I set out to write it with the help of a really good friend of mine who's in the Los Angeles Police Department, coaching me along the way and really helping me and guiding me. I wrote a book on gun safety, and thank God it's been doing pretty well.
Yeah, I actually got a chance to read the book just moments before the show, and it's really informative and written to a kid's perspective. So for me, that was perfect.
Yeah, he likes reading children books.
I do. The twins.
Yeah, Tuttle Twins.
The Tuttle Twins. I love the Tuttle Twins books. So, I mean, if you give me a book that's going to be informative, teach me about, really, really basic things, and throw in great illustrations, I'm going to read it.
Yeah. Which, quick segue for you and the viewers. I don't know, have you heard of the Tuttle Twins?
I have. I've never had the chance to read it. A bunch of people have told me I should really get my hands on them.
Yeah. Oh, they're great. They are so good.
I do plan on doing that as soon as I have some extra money to spare, but I've heard they're very good books.
They are, yeah. They take a lot of classical classical liberal literature, and they just put it in a children's book form. They're really fun to read.
Yeah, they're great.
And they're for children, because they're going to be probably indoctrinated when they get to schools and stuff. So we got to do what we can with our kids in the home setting to set them on the right path.
Exactly.
AKA indoctrinate them when they're younger.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, yes.
All right. Just clarifying that for a second.
Wait, so are you allowed to own guns in Los Angeles?
So you are. It's a pain in the butt to get them. Well, to get a handgun, you actually have to take a 30-question test, multiple choice test, to get a permit to own a handgun.
Uh-huh.
It really, if you fail that test, you don't deserve to own a handgun, because you're just an absolute idiot. So, so you are allowed to get it. Long guns, shotguns, ARs, that kind of stuff. You can just get it. You don't need a permit for it. But California does have a 10-day waiting period.
Okay.
Wow.
Where you might get shot in between.
Well, yeah, or of course their mindset is it's a cool down period, because I'm obviously buying a firearm to go kill somebody. So
yeah,
you buy the firearm and you have to pick it up 10 days later, hoping that you rethink your life decisions and you can go pick it up. The stupid thing is, again, I could be mistaken about all of this because I've been out of LA for 3 years now, so I don't know. They've passed so many draconian laws now. I don't know what everything is. I'm going based on when I live there. It's just ridiculous because if I own one firearm and then I want to go buy a new one, I have to wait another 10 days to pick that one up. And
Wow.
It's like what? Why? Like if I'm going to go kill somebody, I already have a firearm. Why?
Yeah, I didn't think about that actually.
Yeah, it's liberal dumbassism. I don't know what you want to call it. But it's ridiculous. I mean, it's absurd.
Yeah, and you can see that with all the cities and states that have these super strict gun laws, like New York, California, Illinois, specifically Chicago, and looking at the murder rates there and gang violence, armed robberies, the statistics are severely against the people over there than it is from states like Oklahoma, Kentucky, Texas, constitutional carry states and other easier to get guns in states like here. You can just walk in and buy a gun.
Right.
Yeah.
I spent a month in Chicago this summer, and
Thank you for your service.
and all I got was this lousy T-shirt. Yeah, I spent a month there, and I was kind of getting an itchy trigger finger. I'm like, okay, I'm in Chicago. I got to go shooting if I'm here, right? So I wanted to go to this gun range, but to go shooting in Chicago, you have to have something called a FOID card. And if you don't have this FOID card, and let's say I'm just some random guy who walks into a gun range there, I have to spend an extra whatever amount is. I think I heard it was around $50 to go and have an instructor with me just to go shoot a gun there.
Yeah.
And in my mind is like, what the hell? I carry a gun with me everywhere I go. I train. I go to the range all the time. I wrote a freaking book on gun safety for children, but I still need to pay extra $50 to go get an instructor. I'm like, no, thank you. I'll just, if I really want to go shooting, you can just go to the south side there. It's the country's largest outdoor gun range. So,
Yeah.
But no, I survived. My wife survived. My kids survived. And it's good to be back in real America. So
You grew up in Israel?
I didn't grow up in Israel. I
You
grew up in Los
visited.
Angeles, but I lived in Israel for 2 years. I was in school there.
Did you ever? So you never had to serve?
I didn't. I was very close to doing it, but you always hear people like, "Oh yeah, I was so close to doing it, but then I couldn't do it." No, I was going to do it, but I probably chickened out at the time. If I had to do it again, I probably would do it.
Okay.
I mean, it's much easier said than done, but I have a lot of friends who served in the Israeli army. I have a lot of friends who served in the American armed forces, and I support the hell out of them. I didn't do it.
Yeah. No, that's fine, man. Like, trust me, it's not for everybody.
Yeah.
And I think most veterans will say the same thing. We don't judge people whether they did something or not, especially not that.
Right.
Besides, a lot of it's pretty dangerous, and on top of that, people judge you no matter what kind of military you're in. Anyways, like I get judged all the time. He gets judged all the time. IDF soldiers definitely get judged all the time. Sometimes by me, but on an individual basis. You and I have not talked much about this topic, but let's go a little bit off topic on guns. What's your opinion on I guess how do we get peace in the Middle East when it comes to the biggest issue over there of Palestinians and Israelis? What is the best thing that you think should be done? And just so you know, like, you can be honest. We're very non-judgmental here, and I'm definitely not. So
Right. No, I understand. I mean, look, every time we try having a ceasefire with them, I'm saying Israel, we get rockets in Beirut and all these other cities across Israel. I mean, there's not going to be peace. There's two ways of achieving peace in Israel and the Middle East. A, Israel just packs on up and finds somewhere else to live.
which
I mean,
yeah,
which is not going to happen.
it's not.
No.
or B, Israel just goes into Gaza and just levels it all.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, in today's world, every, Netanyahu would be thrown into prison in the Hague for however many years for war crimes. But you're not going to have peace in the Middle East. It's just not going to happen. No matter how hard you try, it's not going to happen. There will always be people in the Middle East who do not want peace. And
go ahead.
Yeah.
I was just going to say, you remember after the Yom Kippur War when Sadat made peace with the one good dude that I always forget his name. Jesus, what's his name? Jesus was also Jewish.
I don't think that was his name.
It's not Barak.
Rabin.
Rabin, yes. Yeah, both of them were killed by the fanatics of their own people for making peace with the other side. And I always think that's so sad, man. I think that's one issue that we really, I wish the people in the Middle East could come together and finally figure out, because, like my opinion of it, I wish that we can have I want a two-state solution, even with the borders they're at right now. Like, I don't care about getting back the lands, from the whatchamacallit 6-Day War. I don't even care. I just want it to all be over. And to me it's so sad, man, because I like reading about history. I'm a student of history, and it always confuses me because throughout history, up until the last 100 years, Muslims and Jews didn't have any problems with each other. And Jews were all over the Middle East. Muslims, helped Jews escape during World War II. During the Crusades, Muslims helped defend Jews. The Jews in Spain during the Inquisition, the Jewish Golden Age under the Moorish Empire. So we never had those issues until now with what happened. And I personally wish this wasn't going on, because we see eye to eye on a lot of things. Our religion is even sort of built the same. We are a work-based faith in Islam and Judaism, where we have to do good deeds for God to judge us well. And I just wish that stuff didn't happen, man. Up until now, the outside Israel, Iran has the largest Jewish population. I'm sorry, in the Middle East outside Iran. I'm all over the place. Outside Israel, in the Middle East, Iran has about 70,000 Jewish people, and it's the largest in the Middle East. After that, it's Morocco, that's at 5,000. So obviously we got along for a long time. And it wasn't until the creation of the state that all these problems started. And the Arabs made a really bad choice and a big mistake when they decided to kick out all of their Jewish citizens out of their countries and just send them off to Israel when that happened. When at the time it seemed like a lot of them didn't care one way or the other, because there was a lot of the more Ashkenazi type European Jews that were moving into Palestine, and I look at it as, what's done is done. It's whatever. I like to think it sucks that happened. But it did happen, and now you have a lot of these, a lot of Israelis there now, a lot of Jewish people, and I don't think it's fair at all to kick any of them out. You're just going to go from one mistake to another mistake, from one problem to another problem, one quote-unquote, if you want to say disenfranchised, to another set of disenfranchised people if you're somehow able to kick all the Jews out of there. And I'm not for that. I used to be back in the day. I used to be pretty closed-minded, or maybe unenlightened. Is that the word?
That could be the word.
Yeah. I didn't have a lot of Jewish friends when I was younger, and I heard what I heard because I was a little Arabic Muslim kid growing up. But then I met a lot of Jewish people here. And then I served with a lot of Jewish people. One of my best friends is a Spaniard Jew. I met an Israeli girl that was in the United States Army with me. And I got a lot of love for Jewish people now. Like, a lot of them are so cool. And like I said earlier before the show, a lot of the biggest names and libertarianism, especially Austrian school, and obviously the father of Chicago school, like, they're all Jewish. So, like, it's so sad, man, that this is the one issue, in my opinion, to get peace. Is like how to figure out what to do with the Palestinians and Israelis. Like, I agree, man. Like, I used to be a hardcore just supporter of any and everything Palestinian, and after a while, I just started thinking to myself, well, why are they doing that? Like, why are they always just shooting off rockets randomly? Well, I'm like, that's stupid. Like, if they're trying to talk to you, or if they're not doing anything, why are you doing that? So yeah, I don't particularly like to blame just one side any longer. I just wish either side was able, or both sides were able to just finally come together and make some peace.
I hear that.
Yep.
Like I said, I think most of Israel would love to have peace, but it's not going to happen. And unfortunately, it's a one-sided demand for peace, despite what the media portrays.
Yeah.
So it's either Israel moves or we level Gaza, and I don't think any of those are going to happen. So.
Yeah. I hope it. I'll tell you this. I'm going to go against you here and say I really hope you're wrong and that we do get peace.
Oh, don't get me wrong. I would love to have peace. I just don't believe it's actually going to happen.
Okay.
It would be great if it did.
Yeah.
But I mean, look at history in the last, since 1948.
Exactly. Yeah.
It's not going to happen. There's been many times where Israel's willing to do something, but every time they do, you might have a 2-3 month ceasefire, but then all of a sudden you have just a whole barrage of rockets and suicide attacks. And I mean, look, even now it's been nonstop stabbings. Every other day you hear of stabbing in Israel, and it's unfortunately you have these 17, 18, 19-year-old, even 25-year-old Palestinians who just come in and stab whoever they want, and then they get taken down. And it's unfortunate. But then again, at the same time, when the Palestinian government is paying those people $3,200 a month for being martyrs, I mean, you're not getting peace that way.
No.
And that's the first step. Is you got to you have to change the political mindset of the Palestinian people. Otherwise, this is not going to happen.
I think the first step is to get rid of all the hate. I can't speak for the other side, I guess, but a lot of Arabic people, Muslims specifically, that I know, like, have this blind hate for any and everything that's Israeli, and I think it's sad, and I wish a lot of them could get out of it. And I've met, asshole Israelis too, and Jewish people, and asshole Jews like that too. It's a definitely minority on, I would say, on your on the Jewish side. Like, from my side, man, I see so much hate, and I wish they could stop thinking like that. That's the first thing to do, is to get Muslims to start looking to Israelis and Jewish people as humans, and that we need to sit down and talk about the actual problem, But from what it seems like happening right now, like, it's not going anywhere, because the only thing they keep thinking about is, this guy's my enemy. And, like, you can't just go through the rest of your life talking about the problem and thinking about it like that. But
we have gotten so far off the topic of gun safety.
Yeah. Well,
I was not prepared for this one at all, even though I should have been expecting it.
Nah, it's all good. It's all good. It's an important topic, in my opinion. But yeah, so how many guns do you have?
I'm still a novice. I only own 5.
Only.
Only own 5.
There's a liberal listening right now.
Right.
I think I just made a couple, heads.
I only
You only
own
own
5.
5? Oh my
What?
He's a warmonger. He owns 5 guns. I'm like, dude, my friend owns like 34, and that's even nothing.
Yeah. So, have you actually like taken your children out to? I'm assuming you have. I don't know how old your children are.
My children, no, I don't. My son, I believe, is ready. I just haven't had a chance. I was going to take him out when he turned 10. When he turned 8. He turned 8 2 weeks ago. I just haven't had a chance. School just started and had to get back in the swing of things. My daughter is definitely not mature enough, and she's not ready to shoot yet. But both my kids have copies of my book in their bed. And, my son came home from camp one day, and he goes, "Dad, I don't understand it. We went laser tagging today, and why was I the only boy walking with his finger off the trigger?" Yeah. And, I'm like, "Yeah, it's called trigger discipline. It follows you everywhere,
Yeah.
And, so I'm proud of him for doing that, and just I haven't had a chance to take them yet. So it's definitely going to happen soon.
Have you ever seen the movie Black Hawk Down?
It's, in my opinion, the greatest war movie ever created, and in my top 5 of all time.
Do you remember?
I'm gonna.
Thank you. That's where I was going.
This is my safety.
Yeah. By the way, that's the movie that got me to enlist in the army.
Really?
Yeah, because I was like, I have to be a ranger medic. Like that's all I wanted to be.
Yeah,
the guy that
in my top 5 of all time.
Yeah, I love that movie.
The guy that said that.
Yeah.
This is my my finger is my safety. He trained my buddy. When he became part of the Secret Service.
Wow.
He was his trainer.
Yeah.
And he was like
the actual
not Eric Bana who played the guy, but the guy he was playing.
Norm Hooten.
What was it?
His name's Norm Hooten.
Yes.
Yeah.
He was like, Norm Hooten. And I was like, I don't know who that is. He goes, "Did you see Black Hawk Down?" I was like, "Yeah," and he just did this. And I went, "Oh, that guy got it." I was like, "Yes, that's so cool." Because that's the single greatest line of that movie.
Yes, yeah. So I've had a recent debate in between me and somebody else, and I've seen this a lot on Facebook.
That's how debates work.
Tell me, what is your opinion on? Because I don't know why people ask this question. Like, is open carry better or is concealed carry better? I don't know if you've ever heard of this question before, but what's your opinion on open carry versus concealed?
Well, first off, because I believe the actual words of the Second Amendment, I'm a big believer, firm believer of shall not be infringed.
Mm-hmm.
So I am in favor of constitutional carry, but in terms of open carry, we just got open carry a little over a year and a half ago in Texas. And I'll never forget that, Moms Demand Action, I think it was, and all those left-leaning, anti-liberal nut jobs, they were all saying, "Oh, blood is going to run through the streets of Texas with open carry." I think I've seen one person open carry in a year and a half.
Uh-huh.
I'm definitely pro it. I'm pro it for 2 reasons. A, I'm short, and my wife is short. So if my wife says, "Hey, we're at Walmart, can you go grab that thing from the top shelf there?" And I step on my tippy toes and my shirt comes up and, I expose my Glock that I carry with me. Well, beforehand, I could have gotten in serious trouble. Now,
brandishing.
No, also, if I just want to wear a T-shirt of some sort and, you see a little printing, you could have gotten in trouble for that. Now, you don't have to. On the flip side, I do not open carry because I'm afraid that, for example, if I go to, say, a Walgreens and I'm open carrying and some guy comes to rob the place, I now become the first target. If I don't get a drop on the guy, which I'm not expecting the guy to rob the place, so he would get a drop on me, I become the first target. Having the element of surprise is always better. So,
yeah, definitely.
So I'm like I said, if you want to open carry, hey man, I'm in favor of it. by all means do it. I will support you for it. It's just not my thing, and I won't open carry. So
Yeah.
That's fair.
Yeah.
That's fair. I've always been a fan. Personally, I'm a fan of open carry. Yeah, it's the same thought on, racists and everything else. Like, I want to know who it is that has the weapon.
Yeah.
Like, I really do.
Yeah.
So, like, I'm a fan of open carry. It's not that I think that somebody carrying a gun is going to be dangerous, or there's a good chance that if I see somebody with a gun on their hip, I'm going to think that person probably knows what they're doing, which could or could not be true. But
Yeah.
if it comes down to it, I'm going to hope he does. So that's why it's like, if there ever is a situation where gunplay has to come involved, which I hope I'm never actually in another situation that happens. Like, if somebody's there with a gun on their hip, I'm going to say, hopefully that guy knows what he's doing right now, because he's who I'm hiding behind.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I don't carry. So
Yeah, I happened to get rid of my gun a year ago because I was suicidal. And I got, just depression, anxiety stuff from the military. So I got rid of mine until I'm ready. Until I feel like I'm mentally prepared to start having a weapon again. I don't want to have to make a mistake where I have a pistol like that around. So, should veterans that have PTSD, depression, anxiety, be barred from purchasing and keeping firearms? And how do I want to phrase that one? Well, let's just go with that first. Do you think that veterans should be barred?
I definitely don't think veterans should be barred. It's a very sore subject because, on one hand, you do have these people who literally, some of them giving their life for our freedoms. Then you have others who come back who are truly suffering from some sort of PTSD, and I don't want, I don't want anything bad to happen to those veterans. I think, what was it, 22 veterans a day commit suicide. So obviously I would want that veteran to have the least possible ways of them committing suicide. That said, I mean, I'm not a psychologist. I've never dealt with someone who has with PTSD, so I can't really make that call, and I wouldn't make that call. What I would say is, depending on how severe PTSD is, that would be basically a call for a family member, a psychiatrist, something along those lines. But I'm not medically inclined enough to make any decisions on whether or not a veteran suffering from PTSD should own a firearm. And again, because I'm guessing there's different levels of PTSD.
Yeah.
So because of that, I'm not going to say, well, if you're, and I'm just throwing this out. I don't know how it works. So please,
you're good.
Anyone listening, I apologize. If let's say someone's at a level 5, and that's the highest level, then should they have one? I have no idea. It's up to that like I said, psychiatrists, family members. But if someone's at a level 1, then obviously they're not as big of a threat. So it really depends on family members to look into it, and if people really, I know it's not easy to detect if someone is having PTSD. They try to keep it.
Yeah, we're trying to talk about it.
Right, which is unfortunate because there are so many people out there, people like me, and I'm sure millions of other Americans who are like, hey man, you need a crying shoulder, work here for you, whatever it is. But yeah, I can't make that call on whether or not a veteran with PTSD should own firearms or not.
Yeah. What is your opinion on convicted felons who are now out of prison on owning firearms?
Well, the law is the law. You forfeit your right once you're a convicted felon. You forfeit your right to own a firearm. You should have thought about what you did beforehand. So I don't think convicted felons should be allowed. That's the law.
Even if it's a felony that had nothing to do with like a weapon or anything like that.
As in, drugs, for example.
Or I was gonna say
right?
like embezzling or something like that.
Yeah.
Some white collar crime kind of thing.
Yeah.
That was more where I was leaning.
I mean, it's a tough one. The law is the law. If you're a convicted felon, you can ask the same thing. Isn't convicted felons not allowed to vote anymore?
Yeah.
They can reapply after 7 years.
Yeah.
They can reapply after. Okay. So, if maybe let them reapply after maybe not, I would say more than 7 years for a gun permit, but maybe that's something that should be looked into rather than just, barring it. But obviously depending on the crime.
Yeah.
If you have anything like, obviously murder, of course not, but anything like robbery or drugs, I don't think they should own it. They forfeit their right. Just part of life,
Yeah. Yeah. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say that's very fair. Yeah, go ahead. I forgot what I was gonna say.
No, you're good. You're good.
Actually, I was gonna say that your kid has better trigger. What'd you call it?
Trigger discipline.
Trigger discipline than Dianne Feinstein.
I think my 8-year-old has better trigger discipline than about, what is it, 1/3 of the country who are liberals.
When she came out for that press conference and she had her finger on the trigger, I was like, well, that's just wrong. You're not supposed to do that.
Yeah.
I think there was another some press conference, I forgot where, maybe some kind of gun buyback program, and they had all the guns laid out on a table in front of the podium where I don't remember who was speaking, and everyone is hailing this mayor or whoever it was. It's like, oh, look at all these gun buyback programs. He's making the streets all safe and stuff. But all the guns were pointed at the reporters. They weren't to the left or to the right, like away from, keep the barrel away from whatever you're going to shoot. It's just like, you're sitting there, you're like, are you kidding me? Like, you're hailing this guy's gun safety, and here you have 60 guns pointed right at you. I'm telling you, man, liberalism is a mental disorder. I'm so firmly in belief of that. I just have no brains.
Yeah. Well, so speaking of that, do you get confused by like now politically speaking liberal Jews? Like, what are they thinking, right?
We don't like to own them. No, a Jew is a Jew. No, but liberal Jews, God, that's a whole podcast in itself. Yeah, especially the ones who are, anti-gun and...
Yes.
Dude, did you not see what happened like 65, 70 years ago?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
No. I mean, Hitler literally came into power, registered all their guns, confiscated all their guns, and killed them with the guns that they just confiscated. Just like, it boggles the mind. I mean, I lost over 30 relatives in the Holocaust, and, I don't know if you saw that meme that I made. I have because now, liberals across the country are all clamoring like, oh, we got to take down this statue and that statue, and we're now firing ESPN reporters because their names are Robert Lee, but he's Asian. Mm-hmm. And, it's ridiculous. And I remember when I went to Europe, when I went to Poland, I was at Auschwitz, and I found a 50-cent coin on the floor. It's been there for 60 years, and then, I look down, I'm looking at a swastika. And, at this point in my life, I have it not because, for 3 reasons. A, remind me of where my people came from.
Yes.
B, to remind me of how my people survived. And C, to send a big F you to Hitler. Yeah. Hey, man, your 1,000-year Reich is not here, and I am.
Yeah.
So, instead of whining like a bunch of little babies and, we got to tear down this statue and that statue, like, as I tell my kids, cowboy up. Use it to your advantage. It makes you stronger, and instead of making you guys look like a bunch of little weenies. I don't know.
What do you think makes
Did you start using Cowboy Up before you moved to Texas, or was that a post?
I did. I once heard. When I first started getting into politics. One of the first people I found on AM radio happened to be Glenn Beck, and at the time, this was already 9 years ago. A lot's changed. I don't listen to him that much anymore. I still like his stuff. I just don't listen to him as much. So he was talking about how he had a big Nerf gun battle with his son and with Marcus Luttrell. Right? And they were all out and playing Nerf guns and stuff like that. And I believe Marcus shot Glenn's son in the head with a Nerf, dart. And his son started crying, and Glenn was making a point saying, a lot of times, your son gets hurt, but you gotta teach him that it's okay. You just get back up. He goes, and he's holding his son, rubbing his back, and everything's gonna be okay. Because all of a sudden, this 6'5" former Navy SEAL who just shot this kid in the head with a Nerf dart stands up over him and goes, "Hey man, you better cowboy up because I'm reloading and gonna do it again." And at that point, Glenn said, my son immediately stopped crying, grabbed his Nerf gun, and ran away. And it's just a mindset, you got to toughen kids up nowadays. So I've been using that for a while. My kids get hurt. If my daughter gets hurt, I tell her to cowgirl up. My son gets hurt, I tell her to cowboy up. And surprisingly, it actually works.
Yeah.
The Red Sox used to say that back in 2003 and 2004, which is how I know that phrase.
And you're right about toughening kids up, especially with, your kids. Because, we moved here, I was born in 89 here, and then we moved back to Egypt, came back in 99, and a year later, 9/11, a year and a half later, 9/11, and man, I got picked on hardcore, and I was like,
you still get picked on hardcore.
yeah, but now I can just brush it off. But dude, I got picked on hardcore, and not just me, actually other Jewish kids for some reason. But yeah, you're you got to teach your kids to be tough because they might get some mean jokes thrown at them from somebody that watched what's that one movie? I think the guy's name is Sacha Cohen or something.
Borat.
Yeah, somebody watched Borat and they want to say some silly joke to their kids, and I'm sorry, to your kids, and they don't know how to deal with it because they're not tough enough. Then that wouldn't be the greatest time. Go ahead.
You can just have a good time with it. You know what? Literally, that famous phrase, "What doesn't kill you makes you stronger." I mean, we were joking before here, and Matt, I don't know if you ended up actually putting the headline on the picture we took.
I did I changed one of the words, but because I was not going to call myself that.
Fair enough, but I'm saying we can all joke around, and I mean, especially if anyone follows Muhammad and I on Facebook. I mean, dude, we're making Muslim and Jew jokes all day. And
right.
It just, I mean, obviously I know you don't mean it, and I don't mean it.
Of course,
yeah, no, absolutely.
Since I wrote my book and stuff like that, I mean, I've had names being called at me, and it's just all right, good, call me what you want. I really don't, just fine with me, I mean, look, my wife calls me an idiot all the time, and I'm still married to her.
Right.
So it's all good. Just cowboy up, toughen up. Life throws curveballs at you. Just suck it up, Buttercup.
Yeah. Right. my friend Sophia said something mean, it was really mean about Taylor Swift. So I wasn't having any of that. So I said, I told her that I take every single nice thing I've ever said about Jewish people. She's Jewish. She's been Israel and all. But I had to message her and tell her it's 2017, man. Even though she's conservative and all that, I still gotta worry about how someone takes your jokes. I was I was joking, just so you know. I don't really take back everything I've ever said about Jewish people.
You defend Taylor Swift with all of the gusto of somebody defending their sister that somebody's talking bad about.
Well, she's our queen, man.
She's not even close to that.
You can have Taylor Swift. I'm a Carrie Underwood guy. She's a queen.
Oh, yeah, no, I love Carrie Underwood.
Yeah, Carrie Underwood.
She's a queen.
You didn't say Katy Perry, so I'm okay with it.
Oh, no.
Oh, thank you. Yes.
I'll be honest with you. I think the only song of Katy Perry's that I know is the I Kissed a Girl one, and that's because of the controversy when it first came out. But besides that, you can play me 100 songs, all Katy Perry, and say which one was Katy Perry. I'd be like, I have no idea.
Right.
Well, hey, speaking of music, so like he knows I'm a big metalhead. I always like play metal when I'm walking in here just to force him to enjoy some.
It's not me enjoying it. It's me putting up with it.
Yeah. Have you ever heard of the Israeli band Orphaned Land?
I think you told me about them.
Oh, maybe okay. Maybe I did.
To be honest,
I feel like I tell all my Jewish friends about them.
Yeah, I'm not the biggest heavy metal fan. I mean, I like more. If I'm going to be listening to like rock, it's going to be a lot more, classic rock.
Okay.
That's a lot more my style.
Yeah. So you're more of a softie.
Yeah, you can call me that. Says the guy who owns no guns. So I'm a lot more of like classic rock if I'm going to listen to any rock. Maybe every now and then I'll hear some kind of heavy metal that I like. But overall, I'm country guy, classic rock, and not Taylor Swift or Katy Perry.
Yeah.
And let me tell you something.
Yes.
Taylor Swift, not country. Sorry.
No, not even a little bit. Not even a little bit.
Yeah, I'm not going to argue against that.
Yeah, definitely not country.
Yeah. Yeah, Texas has definitely grown on you a little bit. So you're registered Republican?
I am. I'm thinking about just registering as an independent because the Republican Party doesn't really exist anymore.
Mm-hmm. Very true.
It's kind of like the pseudo-liberal party.
Yeah.
But I just haven't had a chance to do it yet. I'm still debating whether or not I'm going to do it. But I will tell you, every time I get called to ask, they call or send me email about giving them money, I send some really funny responses. Yeah, I totally troll them. So, it's good times.
Who was your choice back in 2015, 2016 when the primary was still in full swing?
I happen to be a Ted Cruz guy.
Oh, that's good. That's good.
I'm a big Cruz guy. Happens to be, I'm kind of almost, the way Scott Walker's been running Wisconsin, man, I really hope he runs again. That would be, the guy's just phenomenal. Doesn't take crap from anybody, and unlike our current commander-in-chief who, has his good days and bad days, just, Scott Walker's just so much more elegant in the way he does it. So, I would like to see a Scott Walker ticket. Don't know with who, but the guy knows what he's doing. So,
what about were you a fan of Olive Rand?
Rand was good. I definitely like Rand Paul. I'm really not I'm not into the whole isolationist thing as he is. I know he's not so into it, at least not as much as his father. Mm-hmm. But you can't be an isolationist. You just can't.
Okay.
In today's day and age, I'm not talking about going in and building nations or, stuff like that. But, Team America, World Police, they got to be around. There's a reason why we're here. And, obviously we have to take care of our citizens first, care of our citizens first. But overall, I put it this way. If Rand won or runs again, I would definitely have no problem voting for him.
Okay.
So he just wouldn't be necessarily my first choice.
Yeah. No, understandable. We try to use non-interventionist. I know that's the big sticking point between whether it's isolationism or non-interventionism.
Non-intervention. Okay, there you go. See, I'm not a libertarian.
No, it's all good. How about, okay, so what would you like to see happen guns-wise, policy-wise in this country over the next few years?
First and foremost, I would love to see the National Reciprocity Act get passed. That would be just absolutely phenomenal. I mean, we road trip to Chicago from Texas, and it's unfortunate that I was able to bring my firearm into Oklahoma, into Missouri, but the minute I would cross over Illinois state lines, I now become public enemy number one.
Yeah.
So I would love to see a National Reciprocity Act get passed, and I would like to see some of the things on the National Firearms Act. Like there's a big movement right now to get suppressors off the NFA, and that would be pretty awesome too.
Uh-huh.
If you can get those two things, that would just be a really big start. And I know the National Reciprocity Act is there, and you have a bunch of pseudo liberal Republicans who are too afraid of losing their power. So I don't think it's going to get passed just because we need more more Rand Pauls and Ted Cruz's and Mike Lee's. And Joe Mertz and people like that. We need a lot more of them in the House and the Senate. And until we do, I don't think you're going to get that much passed. So
yeah. I had a few more questions. Oh, yeah, because you just spoke about suppressors, automatic weapons. What do you think?
I think they're fun.
Band-wise.
Yeah,
but they are fun.
I'm definitely a fanboy of automatic weapons. I actually had the luxury. I went to Vegas and they had a great gun range there, and it was for my 30th birthday. My wife took me to Vegas, and she felt horrible, and I made her feel horrible because she didn't even get me a birthday card for my 29th birthday. So I told her, when we go to the gun range, I'm spending whatever I want, and you can't say a word. So I spent about $500 at this range. I shot a package called the Private Ryan package. So I got to shoot all of these vintage World War II guns, like the M1 Garand and the Thompson and the Brown, the Bar. And that was just so much fun. They were all automatic, not the Garand, but they were all automatic. And that, it was fun. I mean, I'm one of those people shall not be infringed,
Yes.
Also, from what I've been told, and I know you guys are both veterans, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Right. So you guys are both veterans. So from what I've been told, most people in the military, they don't usually shoot automatic.
Nope.
At least that's what I was told. I mean, they'll shoot more in the 3-round bursts because you have a lot more control.
Yeah.
Yes.
Not even that when it comes to it.
Not even that. Okay, so there you go.
It's always
Semi-auto. Okay, so there you go. I've shot automatic. It's a lot of fun. I don't think if people would like to have it, by all means do it. Mm-hmm. But I'm not. I would never shoot automatic if I ever, if I had to.
Yeah. Well, we're gonna get ready to end the show here, so I'm gonna give you a chance to sell your book to our liberal audience.
Fair enough. Okay.
Because
after you insulted them so many times, go ahead. And sell
they're
it.
used to it. I'm sure we have a few. We still have a bunch of them listening. But I mean, thing is, you don't have to push too hard to sell a book like that. I think to conservatives and libertarians. So go ahead and sell it to liberals.
Okay. I would ask you this: if you take your child to a park and you look at your phone for one split second, and your child goes behind the bush and finds a gun somewhere it's not supposed to be, do you trust your child enough to do the right thing by not touching it, run away, and telling a grown-up? If the answer is yes, then good. You've apparently trained your child in gun education. But if you're now thinking, hey, that's actually a good point, then you need to educate your child somehow on gun safety. And whether you're on the right side of the aisle or left side of the aisle, situations like this do occur, accidents do happen, and children do get killed this way. So it depends on how you want to go about your life. If you want your kid to risk even having an accident, whether you're anti-gun or pro-gun, whether you want, if you want that ability of making sure that your child is safe, knowing what to do, then I would suggest picking up a copy of my book. It's not my book. There's a lot of great organizations out there, but my book is there to save lives, and
I agree.
if I save one life, I've done my job.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree.
Where can they pick up your book?
Right now, the best place to get it is Amazon.com.
Okay.
There is a companion coloring book that not comes along, but a separate purchase. But there's a companion coloring book, and hopefully in the next 2 to 3 weeks, I will be able to start selling it on my website. If anyone wants signed copies, you can go to YehudaRemer.com.
Cool.
And we will link that in our show notes.
Yes.
On our website,
yes,
which happens to be muddiedwatersoffreedom.com.
Well, let's end this up with a shells.
Yeah, well, thank you so much for coming on. We do appreciate it. If you want to hang on for just a minute so we can do our closing, we can talk to you a little bit more afterwards. Cool.
Sounds good.
Excellent. Cool. Once again, thank you to Low Tide Kava Bar for the kava that we're going to drink today. If Muhammad could get the top off. Okay, good. All right. Thank you to Low Tide Kava Bar. We will be there shortly if anybody happens to be in town. Thank you to everybody who's out there listening. Bula.
Bula.
Thank you to everybody who's out there listening, everybody who watched us live. Remember, you can find us on Facebook at facebook.com/Muddied Waters of Freedom, on Instagram at Muddied Waters of Freedom, or on Twitter at Muddied_Waters. Or, like I said earlier, you can find us on the interwebs, the interhighway, at muddiedwatersoffreedom.com, where you can pick up your very own Muddied Waters of Freedom t-shirt. Yep. I almost said muddiedwatersoffreedom.com t-shirt. It doesn't say .com on it, though. Again, thank you all. Please like, please share, please tell your friends, tell your family, tell everybody, and...
thank you for coming on, Yehuda. Remember, guys, where we're going...
We don't need roads.